And we are live. Finally, everybody, we've talked about it for months and months and months. Finally, the People's Debate, Budo Pinche Sports, has its first official merger today. And officially, we have our first baseball pod episode. And we're calling it, amongst us three, the ninth inning stretch. I'm your host, the sports mailman Joe. And I'm hosted with my esteemed colleagues, Alex De La Cruz and White T. Cody. How y'all doing, fellas?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to start this off. Baseball
Mm,
season is around the corner, and spring training is already going on.
yeah. And
Yeah,
Cody,
yeah.
how you feeling about this finally?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to get this kicked off. We have been talking about this for a while, and we all have a different fan base, so it'll be good to see different views and how we look at moves and stuff throughout the season.
No, for sure, for sure. And before we start off, Alex, I can see you're a Cubbies fan, but what made you into a Cubbies fan, man? And when did it all start?
Uh, as you guys know, I grew up in Chicago, so I kind of had to pick either the south side or the north side. I was a young kid, so as all the young kids, they usually tend to go to the big star, and at that time was Sammy Sosa, and yes, I couldn't get enough of that green ivory in the back and against the wall, and then like I said, Sammy was one of the big one of my goats growing up,
Yeah.
so
So,
it was cool.
so how do you feel with him actually being back, well, with the organization in some shape or form?
Yeah, it was the first year since that whole scandal what happened with him and the whole steroid stuff. It's good to see Sammy back there, man. It was kind of sad whenever they did win the World Series and he wasn't really like there or like people were saying like it's not the same without Sammy because he was one of those glue guys. Like when you talk about the Cubs, you think of Sammy Sosa and it's cool, man. It's really nice that Hoyer actually brought him back, and it's cool, man. The players are really liking it too in the clubhouse.
No, yeah, for sure. Like it's crazy to see him back there, especially how he's changed his skin tone pretty much.
Yeah,
It's crazy to see how he's become from like Dominican or I forgot where he's from to like a middle aged white woman almost. And
yeah.
Cody, where's your fandom lie, man? And what made you a fan of that team? And what started it all for you?
All right, so of course, y'all know I'm from Houston. I grew up in Houston. I wasn't too big in baseball when I first was growing up, but as I started staying at my grandma's more, my grandma watched nothing but baseball all the time. So I started watching a lot of games with her, and then that's when I got big into baseball and then rooting for the Astros. Um, back in the time of Lance Berkman and Biggio and Bagwell and all that. So that's pretty much when I started watching baseball a lot, and I've been an Astros fan since. We had a lot of down years, so it's easy to hate on the Astros now, but trust me, the Astros were dog doo doo for decades. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember when they finally like decided to tear it all down. They were called the Lastros for for some good times. But let me ask you this question about your Astros. Do you think Lance Berkman is a Hall of Famer?
I think it's borderline. I think it's arguable. Some of the people I think that they do put in the Hall of Fame is arguable. So he might make it in coming down in the years, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's solidified. It's not back well. So
Yeah, no, for sure. And then for me, fellas, as you can see behind me, I got the pinstripes logo behind me. Growing up, the Rangers and the Astros weren't that good, and I gravitated to Derek Jeter as a young kid, and just been a fan ever since. I know a lot of people look at me weird, like, "How you from Texas, man? And you like the Yankees?" I'm like, I don't know, man. You just as a kid growing up, baseball wasn't as more prevalent compared to like football and basketball at that era because you had Jordan, you had all the guys in the NFL, and me seeing Derek Jeter, a young guy, taking over this sport, I just gravitated to that. And now, like growing up, I'm able to use my adult money to go see them, like especially like if they're on the road in Houston or Arlington. But moving on, man, moving on. What a crazy off season we had, and a lot of moves, a lot of transactions, a lot of free agency moves that were kind of thrown off by us. What free agency moves do you think were the biggest this offseason? I'm gonna start you off with Cody.
I would have to rank the biggest move. I think is the most obvious was the Mets stealing Juan Soto from the Yankees with that crazy, what was it, 15-year, 760 mil or something like that. Woo, that's crazy. So, and what's Juan Soto's already in what his 6th or 7th year. So he's gonna hopefully that pays off for the Mets. But I feel like that was the biggest move.
Yeah, Alex, what do you say is the biggest move?
I was gonna say the Juan Soto. Obviously, the Mets getting Juan Soto is a big deal, but we kind of figured how that whole thing was gonna go down with the Yankees and Juan Soto. I think he felt like he kind of got disrespected during the offseason. Um, but just to say something different, and I think the Dodgers, what they're doing and how they were able to add more arms
Yeah,
to their
it's
rotation is dangerous. And I think as far as like we know as baseball fans, in order to win games down the stretch, especially in crunch times in the playoffs, you want arms because the bats can come alive anytime, and it's just one at bat to get it kicked off. But when a guy is on and the as far as like him dealing with fastballs, their off speed pitches, it's really hard. And I think the Dodgers, they're one of the teams, man, and it sucks because like the rich get richer.
no, yeah. What I was gonna ask y'all is, do you think the MLB should implement some kind of salary system like the other two major franchises do? Because now MLB doesn't have that, so a lot of these guys can just do deferred money, get paid back at the back end. But it's kind of sad to see this, in my opinion. Like, it's good for the big time markets because MLB wants this. They're pushing the big time markets down our throats right now, but it's almost like if you're a small market team, you got to hit on your guys, and then you got to hope to somehow pray, like, hey, I'm not going to take a crazy deal and somehow try to stay competitive, because now it's almost like big market teams are running MLB once again, like back in the day. Do you think that's a good thing or bad thing for the MLB?
You talking you asking that one
Yeah,
to me?
Alex. Yeah, my bad, Alex.
Okay. So we grew up watching, like you said, the Yankees, the Red Sox. So like I said, it's kind of cool to see those teams come back alive, and it brings you back to the childhood. But like a team that doesn't benefit to it is Oakland, or now the Las Vegas A's, or whatever they're called, because
Yeah,
they had a lot. I mean, if you look down the list, they've had a lot of good prospects, but
yeah,
then they've always getting rid of had to get rid of them or let them walk because they just can't compete with big guys. I mean, they had Olson from the Braves, I think he had a year with like what 50 something home runs one year, and he wasn't even the best player on this team. So like in Atlanta, so like, but then you're like, how does Oakland let him walk away?
yeah.
It just sucks for smart market teams. I am on the fence with it. I'm 50-50. Like I said,
Yeah.
we grew up in that era of like those teams like the Yankees, the Red Sox, big market teams, the Dodgers, So I'm 50-50 with it.
And Cody, how do you feel about this? Do you think they should implement a salary cap? And do you think this is good? Like, just the big market teams like dominating right now?
So I look at it like this. Overall, in the long run, it would be best for the MLB to implement one, as it would allow those teams who are at the bottom to work their way to get competitive. Because regardless if they did it this year, it would still take a good 10 years for some of those teams to even get to that realm. But unfortunately, the MLB only thinks for now, like you touched on about the money. I feel like the MLB just every year focuses to try to stay afloat as
Yeah.
far as money wise. So they're really only looking to try to make the big market teams win because they just want money now. And I hope one day they do start to look for the future or probably the MLB is going to have this problem forever.
No, yeah, for sure. And moving forward, man, I know we touched on the Juan Soto move to the Mets, but I'm gonna throw out some other moves I feel like were key, and I'm gonna see how y'all feel about these moves. Kyle Tucker to the Cubs, Alex. I know you probably like that move. Corbin Burns signing with the D-backs, and Garrett Crochet going to the Red Sox. Like out of those three moves, what do you think was the second biggest move next to Juan Soto?
I'm not trying to be biased, but the Tucker to the Cubs, um, it kind of looked at first like the Astros were gonna kind of clean house,
Yeah.
but if you look at the roster now, I mean they've done a pretty good job of still keeping some live bats in that lineup. Um, but the Cubs did get rid of some of the guys like Cam Smith. He's a big
Mhm.
prospect. Um, and I'm like, damn, like a lot of people are gonna say like, well, the Cubs won that trade. Cam Smith is kind of like lighting it up in spring training. I'm like, damn, like what like I think that's gonna be a move later on down the road that people are not gonna really expect. Like how did Cam Smith make it to the Astros, and then they're gonna look back at this trade a couple like from I want to say maybe like 2 years from now, Cam Smith's gonna be a big name coming out, but they're gonna look back at this Kyle Tucker trade, and then I still think Kyle Tucker still has some in the tank. I mean, he played what 82 or something like that games, and he had I mean his stat sheet didn't look bad at all. So if he comes back healthy, I would assume that he has a season like what he did last year.
Mhm.
And I don't know, man. Hopefully he keeps the Cubs afloat because that's what we were missing last year was runs. We couldn't score runs down
Yeah,
the stretch.
like a key bat in the offense, like that key cog. Because Cody Bellinger, he was great by all means, like the way he defensively stuff like that. But I just think he's not what he once was, and I feel like y'all needed like a cornerstone piece. And Kyle Tucker, hopefully y'all can resign him. I think he's a free agent
Yeah,
upcoming, so hopefully the 1 year rental deal doesn't bite y'all in the butt like Juan Soto did for the
yeah.
Yankees. And Cody, what do you think besides these other moves, besides the Juan Soto move that caught your eye the most?
I like that dude, the Japanese pitcher that went to the Dodgers. What's his name? Sasaki or
Sasaki,
something?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that move's going to turn out really good. Like Alex was touching on. I mean, you can't get enough arms, and that's going to be the reason the Dodgers going to wipe out the league is because they made those moves for the pitching, and I think that move's going to turn out great.
Yeah, like if you think about their projected starting lineup, like if everybody's healthy, Otani, Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Sasaki, I think Gonsolin, I think that's his name.
It's an
Bobby
all-star
Miller,
team.
like Bobby Miller too. Like Bobby Miller could be probably an ace somewhere else on anybody else's staff. At least a glorified number two, but seven guys that can probably be an ace on anybody's staff is just crazy. And to think too, they got probably the two best relief arms this offseason in Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates. Like it's
Yep.
just it almost seems like unfair. It's almost like what's more likely to happen: the field winning the World Series or the Dodgers going back to back. It's just crazy to think. But
Yeah.
to me, a move that I feel like that's not getting talked about the most, and he's getting paired with the ace that's a fellow Cy Young winner himself, Corbin Burns to the D-backs. Man, I feel like that move is going to do wonders. Him, like he's going to uh, Baltimore. He didn't work out all the way. He was there for 1 year. I feel like him with Zach Gallen is going to probably be the best 1-2 tandem probably in all of baseball, in my opinion. When I'm looking at it right now, like the top two guys on the staff, I feel like they can go toe to toe with anybody. And you saw a couple years ago they made it up to the World
Yeah.
Series. Corbin Carroll, another year under his belt. I think it's Ketel Marte, another good guy. Fortunately, they did lose Christian Walker, so let's see if they can try to replace that offense somewhere along the lines. But I feel like Corbin Burns to the D-backs, and I'm surprised he didn't get a $300 plus million deal in the process because everybody was like, oh, he's going to get 300 million. And for him to go out to Arizona, I feel like it's going to do wonders for his career.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that whole Christian Walker Arizona losing him was kind of a big deal for me because, like you said, that World Series run they had a couple years ago, he was one of the dangerous bats in that lineup, and
Mhm.
I think that the down year they had last year with like I understand the injuries and all that. It kind of played into the effect where it kind of hurt his name pretty much, and the Astros were
Yeah,
able to get.
yeah. Because if I'm not mistaken, he signed 3 years for 60 million, Cody. So pretty much 20 years for an all-star caliber first baseman. Hopefully that
Right.
does good for them. Because the last time y'all got a first baseman who was coming off all-star leading seasons didn't work out so good.
Yeah.
No, but moving on to the off-season moves, man. I'm gonna ask y'all what move is gonna be the best. You know, what team is it's gonna work out like slam dunk besides Juan Soto, if y'all think that, or any other move besides the ones y'all talked about.
I'll go first. The first one I'm gonna think of is the what's his name, Isaiah Perez
Mm,
to the Houston Astros. Um, he's a big time pull hitter. Uh, if you check his home runs and where they travel, he's always a pull. And where's the shortest field is going to be the
the juice
is going to be
box.
them. Yeah,
Home run every
yeah.
day, baby.
So I think that's gonna you're gonna see a big jump in his home runs this year. Um, and I think that's a perfect like match made in heaven
Mhm.
for for the player and the team. So he fits perfect for that stadium.
No, yeah, for sure. And Cody, who do you think is gonna be the biggest contributor coming from via trade or free agency?
Um, I want to say, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the dude you were talking about for the D-backs, Corbin. I think he's gonna end up making a big impact for the D-backs, and then taking them to that level where they possibly get back to the World Series if the Dodgers don't just wipe house. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy to think like that division probably is the best division in all of baseball. If I'm not mistaken, it's the
yeah,
D-backs, the Padres, the Dodgers, and is it the Giants?
The Giants.
yeah. But
Yeah,
they
so
ain't
think
making
about that.
noise at
And
least.
I'm like they did a lot of offseason moves that I feel like Willie Adames is going to become a superstar over there. Him and that, and they've been waiting for a guy ever since Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford all retired. They're looking for some guys. They have a good young staff, offensively. Hopefully they can improve. But that's just a dog eat dog division. Like whoever comes out of that division is just it works wonders. But moving on, fellas, I'm gonna ask y'all what offseason move is gonna bite their franchise in the ass.
Yes,
Cody, we'll
sir.
start off with you.
All right, the one that I think is gonna bite in the ass the most is gonna be Bregman to the Red Sox, because no matter how I look at it, I think it's just gonna be bad one way or another. If Bregman's not gonna be enough to take you to World Series, but you gave him all this money, so if he doesn't take you to World Series, then it's gonna bite you in the ass 3-4 years down. I forget how many years they signed him, but what was it, 3 or 4?
I think it was like 3 for 120, so 40 million per.
Yeah, so yeah, that's just gonna bite you in the ass. I don't see the Red Sox. I don't know. I don't understand why anybody paid them that much. So I think that
Yeah,
will blow up both ways.
yeah. I was kind of confused because you have Rafael Devers there at third, but I know they've been trying to move him to somewhere else, and I know he's kind of reluctant to like give up third base, and like that's your captain in a sense. So it's like kind of throwing dirt in his face, like, hey, bro, like you're bringing in a guy like to play my position, or what's going on with that? Alex, how do you feel about what Cody had said about Bregman?
Yeah, I remember like we're in our own little group thread, and I said, "Is it kind of weird that I don't want Alex Bregman?" Like at some point, I'm like, "Damn, this," because it was dragging on, and I was listening to a lot of like Chicago radio, how Hoyer dropped the bomb. Like we just how are we gonna let Alex Bregman like go to the Red Sox whenever the Cubs are one of his top teams, and it kind of looks like, well, the Cubs are more built for to win now than the Red Sox. So that was another thing where like Alex Braitman will come here. I'm happy we didn't get him because he was going to be super expensive, and I'm a Nico Horner fan, and I knew if the Cubs were gonna get him, we're gonna have to get rid of Nico or another young prospect, and I didn't want. I was like, I don't want to do that because you're pretty much we're the Chicago Astros right now, so I don't want to. I wouldn't want to bring another. I mean, he's talented, but not for that price. Plus, you're getting rid of a good second baseman. I know Nico's kind of hurt right now, but him going to the Red Sox, like I don't really care because he's in the AL. But like looking NL, looking in the AL, like damn, like we said before, the Red Sox might be on their way with this trade. So we don't know.
Yeah. So, Alex, what move do you think is going to be the worst for the franchise that got these players?
Um, it's I know we had just said Juan Soto was a good one. Or like was a big move. But if you got to look at it too, as the Mets, they could be a dumpster fire at the beginning of Go. So them getting Juan Soto is a big deal, but it could also bite them in the butt.
Yeah.
And especially with the Mets because they have a lot of talent, and then they blow it up. I think it was 2 years ago, or they had one of the biggest payrolls. You remember? And they were terrible. I don't know if you guys follow that guy from Barstool, that big what's his name? The Tank. What's that guy's name? He's a big Mets fan.
Yeah. Yeah. That big guy, older guy. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Frank the Tank.
Yeah.
He goes on his rants with the Mets, so it could be one of those years too for the Mets, but we'll see.
Yeah, with me, call me a hater. You know, he was a Yankee last year. I guess he didn't want to be in Aaron Judge's shadow, but in my opinion, I feel like it's Francisco Lindor's team over there in Queens. So I was kind of surprised he goes somewhere where he's technically again the number two, but his defensive ability has deteriorated over the past couple of years. You know, 15 years for 765 million. That's crazy. He's going to spend the rest of his career in Queens, and hopefully, you know, his fielding gets better because in New York or the Yankees, like he played really horrible. He had a lot of errors. I think it was the most errors he's ever had. So hopefully that bat continues to uh, get him paid. You know, it did this upcoming year. Like crazy to think, 760 million, like almost there. Like
Baseball
the
money.
Yankees, yeah, like it's crazy, man. It's like the Yankees went 16 for 760, which, like, in my opinion, at first I wanted him back. Like, by all means, he helped us get to the World Series. You want that? You try to keep that team intact to try to go back to the World Series. But when you look at the moves that they made in the offseason, I feel like it's almost like evened out. Like you get Williams, you get Goldie, you get Belly. You know, you get a lot of guys. Max Fried. You know, you make their staff is probably the best in the American League now. So I was kind of glad, you know, Hal ended up saying, you know what, like I'm gonna be tapped right here, and after that, like no, if you want to go over there, by all means, go ahead. And if hopefully what I was reading wasn't true, that he was mad that they weren't paying for a suite for him, like he wanted,
Yeah.
and like all the other legends pay for their suites, like Derek Jeter, Aaron Judge, all these other guys, like bigger guys in Yankees uniforms are paying for their own suite. So it's like, bro, you've been here 1 year, like by all means, you did great, but you have to earn your stripes to be with the Yankees. So moving forward, let's see what happens. Like, I'm gonna ask y'all this: what's more likely to happen, a Subway Series or the Dodgers repeating?
It's gonna to me it's gonna be the Dodgers.
Yeah, the
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
Okay. All righty. Moving forward, I want to see who y'all think going into this season is the top five teams of the MLB going into the season. Before the start of the season, Alex, I'm going to start off with you from five
Yeah,
to one, if
man.
you can.
If I they're not in order.
Okay. Well, just
Oh,
give me your top five. Like,
okay. So my top five teams from each conference.
no, like I went just all as a whole. I didn't go NL, AL, because then it's top 10. I
Right.
want to make it more juicy.
Okay.
Top five.
Okay, so obviously I'm gonna have to pick the Dodgers, right? Dodgers are gonna be
Yeah.
in the mix. The Yankees,
Okay.
the Philly,
Okay. Phillies. Yeah.
and then um, I'm gonna put Baltimore in there. I
Okay.
think Baltimore still got some juice. They got a lot of young talent, and it's mine's gonna. I'm gonna throw you guys a curveball, but I think the Rangers might be in the mix of being one of the top teams next year.
Yeah, with the Rangers, in my opinion, is just it all depends on Degrom. If Degrom can be healthy, give
Yeah,
him 20, like at least 20 starts. They're in that mix by all means. You got Simeon, Seager, Bambi. You have a lot of guys on that offense, and you got Wyatt Langston, I think his last name, and then you got Young. So you have pieces there. Hopefully, they all stay healthy. Last season was maybe an anomaly. Everybody gets hurt after you win the World Series, but moving forward, that's going to be, a good list. I could see all these guys being the top five. Cody, who do you have from top five, or if you're just a five random?
All right, number 5. I got a surprise too. I got the D-backs. I think the D-backs are going to be really good. Number 4, I got the Padres. I think the Padres are going to make some noise this year. Number 3, I got the Yankees. Number 2, I got the Phillies, and then number 1, I got the Dodgers, of course.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like everybody should have the Dodgers at number one. If you don't have the Dodgers,
yeah.
you're just being a hater. For me, I'm gonna go with the Padres. If they didn't lose some of their relief arms, I would have had them a lot higher. Number 4, the Phillies. They're still great, but they're getting older by the week, by the day. Bryce Harper another year older, Kyle Schwarber another year older, Trey Turner, Nola and Zach Wheeler. Hopefully they could try to get it now before it's too late. Number 3, the Braves. If they could just stay healthy, man, that offense, that staff can be really good. It's just Ozzy Albies can't stay healthy.
Right, I'm iffy on the Braves.
Yeah, Ronald Acuna just can't stay healthy. But like they have a lot of other pieces: Matt Olson, Michael Harris, and so it's just going forward. I feel like that's like probably the best team besides the Dodgers. When you look at it, it's just they can't stay healthy. Number 2. Call me biased if you want. My New York Yankees at number 2, and at number 1, unfortunately, the LA Dodgers at number 1.
So I'm glad you put the Atlanta Braves in there because I was gonna say we're about to get butchered on TikTok or on YouTube for not putting the Braves because like we said what was the Achilles heel for the Braves was the injuries last year. And
No,
like you
yeah,
said,
for sure.
that lineup is crazy. What was it like 2 years ago? They had two guys in the MVP race,
Yeah,
and then two of them were over 50 home runs.
yeah.
So that lineup looked really scary when
No,
healthy.
it's scary, man. And to
Yeah,
think Chris Sale, they got. I mean, I remember a lot of people said, "Oh, he's done, he's finished." And look what he did this past season. Cy Young, man, returned back to form when he was back in with the White Sox, man. It's crazy to think you leave the White Sox and I guess you well any type of sock, and you end up rejuvenating your career, because I remember him in Boston, man. He was breaking TVs, acting all crazy, and to see where he's came from, from the bottom all the way back, it's crazy to see, and then you
What
have Spencer Strider as well. So
y'all think we're gonna get butchered because none of us put the Mets in?
I mean,
with that, man, it's just their offense is really, really good by all means, but that pitching staff, man, it's just Sananga is probably the only like top arm that they have. You have Manaya, you have some other guys, but nothing like compared to all these other teams. If you look at their rotations, it's top tier. Like the Dodgers, by all means, Garrett Cole, uh,
He's on
Garrett
his way.
Cole, Rodon. You have a lot of guys over there. The Braves, that pitching staff, the Phillies, the Padres. So all those 5 rotations, I feel like wipe the Mets rotations by all means. Like you're gonna have to slug for the Mets to be competitive, and hopefully they can. But whenever it comes to the playoffs, what do you have to do? You have to pitch.
yeah.
And we have a question from Milton. What separates baseball from other sports in y'all's individual opinion?
That pigeon.
Yeah, okay. My bad. Cody?
Well, I would say what is most experience that I like from baseball is when you actually go to a baseball game. The actual atmosphere of a baseball game is very different from other sports. While football or basketball is going to be more amped, fast paced. Baseball is more. It feels like a family event when you go to a baseball game almost. So I definitely enjoy that a lot about baseball. That whenever I go to a football game, I can't really enjoy like that. I'm really watching somebody throwing a damn beer on my kid or something like that. You know what I mean? But as far as the actual sport, I don't really know how to answer that. You know what I mean? I mean, every sport's different, but that's what I gained from the experience.
No, yeah. And Alex, what do you think about this?
Uh,
How do you separate baseball?
I am a huge guy when it comes to being a team guy.
Mhm.
Uh, I think baseball is the ultimate team sport
Yeah,
because if you're pitching and you're a pitcher, you're gonna pitch in say a 7 game series, right? You're going to pitch at least one or two times if you're the main ace. If you're lucky enough, you might pitch three, but you have to rely on your teammate to give you another win, to go the distance in in innings. You got to have the guy behind you in the lineup pick you up if you strike out, and you got a guy at second. Like it's like I've said this before in the other podcast where 7 game series are always meant for the best team to win, but
yeah,
when it comes to baseball, it's different because you have to rely on the teammate. In basketball, you could have a number one guy and play. He
yeah.
could play great all 7 games. You can't have that in baseball. And how Cody said, the atmosphere is different, man. My little son's playing baseball right now, and out of all the sports, this is the one that he enjoys the most. It is a family one, but like if you get to those gritty, grinding games where it's in the playoffs, it gets kind of rowdy.
Yeah.
And at any time, if you miss on the pitch, you miss on the location, it's going 400 feet in the stands. So it's
No,
crazy. And then like I said, also Jose Altuve, man, he's not the biggest guy. You
yeah.
see, he could walk right past you and down the street, and you wouldn't even know he's one of the best sluggers in the game, or one of the best pound
He's
for
the
pound
most
sluggers.
clutch player.
Yeah, that you don't even know. Like, and I'm like, that's cool, man. Like, you pretty much doesn't matter what size you are, it doesn't
Right.
matter how big you are. You could be one of the greats in baseball.
No, yeah, for sure. For me, for my visual opinion, baseball, it's crazy because any small thing can make you lose the game. Like if you walk somebody, a blown play, an error, stuff like that. Like if you looked at in the playoffs the most this year, like if somebody got walked, like I would remember watching games in the playoffs. Somebody gets walked, somebody does something like out of the ordinary, like a simple miss pop up. You end up getting killed for it. Like simple things like that, like little things like people who don't watch baseball enough won't really notice it because like if you shift or if you have somebody playing deeper, shallower, or if you have somebody hit away, you bunt, like it's a lot of little things that people who didn't grow up watching the game don't understand these little things in it. And which me, like when I'm watching it, because growing up, baseball was my first love. It was like the first sport I started playing. I played until I was like 15 years old. And I would notice little things like that, like playing, like, oh, get behind the first baseman if the pitcher is going to throw it to you, or certain things like that. That growing up playing the game, you realize, oh, this is what they're doing, or this is what they're hitting away. They're trying to steal the base, like stuff like that. And that's what always made me love baseball. And I feel like it's becoming, in my opinion, possibly overtaking basketball because the way basketball has been the past couple of
Yeah,
seasons. I feel like it's been losing ratings. Even the investors have talked about declining ratings because the NFL just rolls all sports. But I feel like baseball is gaining steam traction, especially after last season. You had the Dodgers and the Yankees, probably two of the biggest franchises in all of sports, playoff in the World Series because you hardly ever see that in all major sports where you see probably like the two biggest franchises face off in each other. And that's a big time thing for any sport because I know whenever it happens in basketball, whenever the Lakers and Celtics play against each other, they make that into a big time spectacle. In the MLB, I remember it was crazy seeing postseason commercials, and all they were showing was Otani and Judge. They weren't even showing any of the other teams at all. It was just those two guys, and they were banking, they were hoping that was going to happen. And it's just crazy to see. Hopefully, it continues to improve, but it's going to be interesting because I know MLB is kind of late to the party with like streaming and stuff. Because I know most recently ESPN and the MLB have ended their partnership.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see now where MLB goes moving forward with that.
Yeah, and I think one thing that the MLB does get a little knock is that people are like, "How are you guys going to watch 162 games?" I watch. I want to say I try to watch every single game that the Cubs are playing, and I do get that MLB pass. So it's
Yeah,
not
they
that
have trainings, right?
yeah, it's not that expensive. Out of all the platforms like basketball, baseball, football. I think baseball is probably one of the cheapest. So
Yeah.
like, and it's I like it, and I'm able to follow the game a lot more with that because I mean you get
Yeah.
stats, and I don't think the team should cut back on games. I actually like it. Um, if you're a fan like Joe, like you're a fan of New York, um, you don't have the opportunity to fly out of New York all the time. So whenever there's a oh look the Astros are the Yankees are in Houston this week for a weekend series. Let me go catch a game, and you could
Yeah.
catch a game. You could catch a game on what a Tuesday or Monday afternoon for $40, the cheapest
Yeah.
maybe, right? So I think MLB does a great job of doing that, especially selling tickets everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, like to me, growing up in Chicago, you could go to a game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you get tickets for $15, $10, and just like ride the train station up there, and
One
it's cool, man. I like it.
one thing I never understood though that the MLB doesn't do with the 162 games, you would think they'd at least let every team play each other once a season. I don't understand why they still don't do that. You have
Well,
so many
they do that
opportunities.
again now. They because
Yeah.
I remember when COVID was going on, I think they just had it where AL plays the AL, NL plays the NL. But I know it's back now. It's called interleague play, or I forgot what it's called. So they're doing it again. So that's good for us. You know, people who
So
want to see.
like the Yankees will play all other teams once at least a
Yeah,
year.
yeah, one
Okay.
series. Yeah, yeah, either home or away.
Okay, so they did.
The one thing that I don't like is that like the Cubs when they play Houston, they're either gonna play Houston in Houston this year or
I
they'll
see.
play in Chicago. So like I would like them to have two series,
Yeah,
and that way each of them play one at their home stadium. I think was it this year that Chicago didn't play Houston in Houston. I think they played in Chicago.
yeah,
So it was kind of I was like, man, I wanted to go watch them play, but I wasn't able to go because I think they were playing in Chicago this year.
yeah,
Right, they should do that. They have enough games you could do that.
Yeah.
Even if you did
yeah.
3 game series, that'd only be what 60 games, so or 120 games. So you
No, yeah,
still
for
have
sure.
another 50 games.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. But moving on off this high right now, what coaches do y'all feel are on the hot seat or are on the bottom? Like they're coaching for their job and have a great season. Cody, which coaches do you think, like head coaches, not third baseman and bench
Yeah,
coaches?
top managers of the
I
league.
think I think Aaron Boone, right? Aaron Boone has to get back to the World Series, right? I think nothing less. With letting Juan Soto walk, and they brought in pieces to try to replace. So I think they have to be right back there, or he's gonna get looked at again. I really think he needs to win a World Series. I mean, how many years has he been the manager?
I think going on 8, I think, or
Yeah,
7 or 8.
come on, yeah, you gotta win a World Series, bro. You're out here looking like what's his name, Jason Garrett. You know what I mean? You gotta come on.
Yeah. And Alex, who do you feel like some of these coaches out here that need to have it on the hot seat, coaching for the job?
Yeah, Joe, I don't want to kick you while you're down right now, but
Nah, it's fine, man.
it's to me, man, it has to be Aaron Boone because he's had great teams, man. He really has. Um, I am not a Yankees hater. I like I said, I love whenever the Yankees, the Red Sox, big teams are in the playoffs because it brings you back to childhood. But it has the, of course, like you have a good team, you have to win. Like it's kind of crazy. Like you're gonna have Aaron Judge, and then you look back and you're like, man, they never won a World Series with him. You know, but just to go off Aaron, I'm gonna take some steam off of him. I picked Oliver from the Cardinals. Uh,
Yeah, Momo.
yeah, he had some big signings over the years, and uh, he's let a lot of guys walk, thinking that he could revamp that team with young players now.
Yeah.
Uh, the Cardinals were kind of the teams that was running the Central for a really long time. And the NL Central now it's the Brewers and the Cubs, and now the younger teams are surpassing them. Like the Rays, I'm more scared of the Rays right now than the Reds. I mean,
Yeah,
the
the Reds
Reds
and the
and
Pirates.
the Pirates, like those are up and coming teams, and the Cardinals are they don't like they don't even know what they're doing. Like, do they wanna stay competitive or do they not or what I don't know what their deal is. And he's for sure on the hot seat this year.
Yeah.
I got one more too. What's his name for Detroit? AJ Hinch. I know they made the playoffs last year and they beat Houston, but like that's like his fifth year, I think, with them. You got to do it again. All the other years you had losing records. You can't just go 5-7 games, squeak in the playoffs, and then turn around do poo poo the next year and think you still should keep your job. So I'd put him on the hot seat too.
Yeah, with Aaron with Hinch or Finch,
Yeah,
um,
Hinch.
I think with him getting to the playoffs with that team, the way I think Javier Baez, like he's still under contract with them, his payroll for
Terrible.
the guys who are there, he's getting paid more than everybody that was on the field. To think about that, that managerial job was A1, Chef's kiss, and they're only getting better. Skubal, probably one of the top 5 pitchers in all of baseball after this past season.
They got a lot of talent.
You know, they have a lot of young guys. Job is another guy I feel like is going to be really good as a starter. So hopefully that continues to go. But the guy I feel like he better hope that somehow they keep their players there. The Blue Jays manager, John Schneider,
Yep.
Vladdy, you don't know what's going to happen with him.
Sucks.
Bo Bichette, there's a bunch of guys there with that. They brought in guys over the past couple seasons and we're like, oh, the Blue Jays are going to be competitive in the AL East. And it's never like came together. Like the Orioles have now surpassed them. The Rays, they just need a couple of their prospects to pop up and boom, the Red Sox are back up and running again. The Yankees. So this team, I feel like the way they've had it over the past couple of years and to not be competitive, not to really be in the playoff races tightly with that, roster is just diabolical, man. You have Vladdy, who now is probably going to be on a different team, probably come trade deadline or, in the offseason. It's just crazy to think, what the Blue Jays should have been compared to what they are going to be.
I'm gonna throw my own manager in that boat too with Craig Counsell. You are one of the I think the still the highest paid manager.
Yeah.
Um, that they we got rid of David Ross. It was a big everybody
Yeah, he was
didn't.
beloved.
Yeah, he was beloved in Chicago, and whenever they got rid of him, I'm like, damn, like we literally just missed the playoffs by a couple games, and let him get his guys, let him build the team, and then they get Craig away from Milwaukee, and I was like, well, that's a good thing, we took a divisional rivalries a manager, but then they turn around and they make the playoffs and we don't,
Yeah, it
you
was
know,
crazy to think they
and
lose their
and,
manager and they make the playoffs. I think they
and
even won the division, so it's crazy.
yeah, and then um, we had like if you look at it, our lineup, everything, we were just better. Like our team looked better on paper, and for them to win a division was like, what the hell? Like, and then I was thinking about, I was like, man, if we miss the playoffs this year, it did this. He's gonna have to answer. So, like,
To somebody, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
No, but moving on, fellas. This is the last segment of the ninth inning. The ninth inning stretch is on the back end right now. So, in spring training right now, they are actually trying this out. The balls and strikes challenges right now. It will not be in the regular season, but right now they're just trying it out to see how it goes moving forward. How do y'all feel about this? Do you think they should implement this into the regular season now, or would you rather just have the games be in the umpire's hands, which I wouldn't want to? But what say y'all? Alex?
I'm gonna say yes. I mean, I like it because last year, um, we had it was real controversial at the beginning of the year. The very first game of the season, the Cubs versus the Rangers, there was a big,
Yeah.
big uh, ball call, which should have been a strike, and it worked on the Cubs' favor. But at the very end, I think the Rangers were able to overcome that call. But that could have been real crucial of getting that game taken away from them. So I think it's gonna be a thing where it does come along where they are gonna use it. Maybe not so much using it, giving them so much freedom of doing it every freaking inning. I think that two times is a good thing to get the game going as a faster pace. Um, they also did that. Was it throwing back to the base runner a couple times during the what's it called, spring training, and it ended up happening. So I think this is a thing that's going to happen in the upcoming years.
No, for sure. And Cody, what do you feel about this?
I think it's inevitable, kind of like other sports too, where they're slowly implementing, robot technology, lasers, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just part of technology in the future. I get a lot of people upset about umpire calls, but your team benefits from them too. It always goes both ways, and in crucial moments, just like any sport, a ref can always still affect it. My thing is with this technology, as much as it sounds good, it's never going to be perfect either. There's going to be errors and mess ups, just like there is when you have a ref. So
Yeah. With that, I'm gonna ask you, Cody. Do you think it should be like unlimited challenges, or do you think after like two times, like like in regular MLB, where like they challenge like a base call, stuff like that, should they be able to challenge that throughout the whole game, or like, hey, after two times, if you don't get both of them right, you don't get a third chance?
I think it should be like the NBA, where as long as you keep getting the call right, you should keep being able to challenge. If my umpires are that bad that I keep having to correct them, well, then why shouldn't we have the game called correct? You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, and Alex, question on you. Do you think that they should continue to get challenges sent their way if they keep like getting it right or wrong? Like, should it be unlimited?
What was that? I was, I
No,
was
I was asking, like, do you think they should like let them do unlimited challenges? Like, hey, like the first one I got right, but the second one I got wrong, and then the third time, like, hey, you don't get a third challenge, because I know like in NFL you get two challenges, and if you get it right third time, you get another one.
I don't think so because the way baseball's trying to move forward is they want the game to go faster. They want it at a faster pace. That's why they don't throw it back as much to base runners
Yeah.
to try to pick them off. It would be cool just to, like, that way you get a so it's like a perfect game of being called. But the way MLB is trying to move forward of getting the game done faster and at a faster pace, then I don't think they will do that.
No, cool, cool. Yeah, no, that's very, good to see how y'all feel about these questions. Because in my opinion, that was like the biggest thing moving forward, and it's just gonna be interesting to see where MLB goes moving forward. But fellas, that's the ninth inning stretch for you. How do y'all feel about the first episode? Cody, How do you feel about it, and where can we find you on TikTok or any social media platforms?
This first episode was a damn home run in the Crawford box. We smashed this out the park, like Cam Smith is gonna do all season. Shout out to the Cubs. And you can find me on TikTok at YT Cody. Got plenty of opinions, but only one T-shirt. You know what I mean? All right, your turn.
Yeah, how do you feel about the?
You kind of broke out there, but I'm assuming you said how I feel about that.
Oh, my bad, man. No, yeah,
Um,
I was just saying, how do you feel about this episode, and where can we find you on every platform?
yeah, man, I'm excited to kick this off. It's been a long time coming. Uh, Baseball season is around the corner, and Cubs fans should be excited. They could find me at Alex underscore De La Cruz underscore 54 on my Instagram. I really don't post much as far as uh my base like sports wise. You will see more pictures of my son playing sports. We're a big baseball family, so you'll see that. And go Cubbies, man.
No, yeah. Hopefully we can all get together, man. Like I know you're the Cubs and Astros. Maybe we can all get together for like a big time series, maybe like Dodgers, Yankees, or like something like that. We all get together, watch some baseball. It's always good to watch it with people who appreciate the game. It's good. Like whenever I watch it with some family that love baseball, it's just a different kind of thing compared to watching like basketball and like
Yeah.
football, because it's like people who watch it, like I think they have a more love for it, because a lot of these people who watch baseball like grew up watching baseball, or playing baseball. But this is your boy Joe, the Sports Mailman. Find me on TikTok at what we have underneath right here, the Sports Mailman. If y'all have anything else, fellas, let me know. Every Sunday we'll have a new episode coming out middle of the day, and hopefully, if y'all give us enough feedback and purpose, we'll start going live. But if y'all have anything else, fellas, do y'all?
No, man. The game has just gave a lot to me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a good thing that finally we have a baseball podcast.
No, yeah, for sure. And Cody, you have anything?
Strohs over hose. That's it.
Alrighty, fellas. Well, this is the Sports Mailman. We got YT Cody and the Professor Alex De La Cruz, and we are out. Thank you.
Hey, you fellas.